Me and the boys was sitting around drinking, we was talking about things that we was thinking, when all of a sudden what comes out of Bill's mouth? Said I'm getting old and fat and slow, and I don't recover like I did before from nights of rabble, rousing and too much fun. Well, I looked around and we all agreed, and I had a drink and I ordered 3, and I staggered back to do it all again. Then we made an oath on a rum and coke with the best intention, I'm sure you know, that we would stop this living in excess. We're gonna have one more party, one more special occasion. Do it Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, holidays and weekends. We can have one more party. There's more hell we should be raising. One more party now, one more.
Hey everybody, on today's episode of Garage Beers, what I want to do is go over a buddy heater hack that I found on the internet. So I do not claim the ingenuity and whatever the inventiveness to come up with it, but I tried it and it works. I used to have a portable buddy, and that's what I originally had in this video. I'll put the link in the description for where I originally found it, and you can see firsthand where I got this idea from. Now, I want to heat my ice shack. So it's just a repurposed old camping trailer. And we're fine with the portable buddy. It wasn't big enough to heat. I could even have it like right at my feet by where the hole was, but it wouldn't stay warm. It was just too small. The other issue we're having, because we had a sunflower, and we're running the other issues. One, if you get it too close to the door or anything else, it gets hot. Now, we do want to remove this, put a wood stove in one day, but you know, there's some things I just like propane for. It starts up, it's good. I can move the shack around. I don't have to worry about a stove bouncing around like it's going to be there. So it's really convenient. Turn off, turn on, off we go. The big problem that we had though is when we had everything set up, we weren't starting everything on fire, is the heat would rise. We got our neat little lights there, and everything would sag, and you could if you stood up, your top half would be warm. At the bottom half though, your feet would just be frozen. So what we came up with is we rigged up that fan to our power, because when I ice fish, any idiot can be uncomfortable. I choose to find comfort in an uncomfortable situation, so I go with power. So what I was going to do is just put a cookie sheet on top there, because I got one up there. That's my little heat shield, so I don't set all that on fire. The original hood came out way too much, and you'd like clip your head on it every time you walked by. So I was going to put a cookie sheet there. That warms up, and that little camp stove was going to turn on and circulate air. But as I was perusing through the internets, I saw this neat little thing. So as you can see, here's how I have everything set up as it is. Buddy heater goes there, out of the way, doesn't get kicked. We have a propane tank. It's up high because as it gets colder, then it stops. You lose pressure and doesn't work as well. Just kind of show, according to this, it's pretty warm out there. -5 Celsius, -18 Fahrenheit, whatever it is. I'm not American, I couldn't tell you. Also not super old, so I've never worked with that. But we had to modify this. Now, first disclaimer, this is not recommended by Mr. Buddy or Mr. Heater, whatever the company is. You could seriously, you know, if everything blows up because of this or causes major harm, injury, I'm not taking responsibility. You got an idea off of a YouTube video. But here's what I did. First of things first, here's my stove. Just a regular one of these guys. They range from like $20 to $120. I got this one for $60, good middle of the road. As you can see, all I did is I cut a slit from the front. Now in the video, the guy had it from the back, but he said if you used to do anything different, cut from the front. And the reason why is so that you can have it as forward as possible. So the heat's not just going to be hitting the motor, it's actually going to collect on the base, which is going to heat it up. I didn't want to cut too far through, just enough so I can actually get far enough ahead. I need some sort of base plate, so one it's got some sort of support too. The heat has to transfer through the base plate into that magical device where the wizards live to power the electric motor and everything else. I'm sure there's a lot more science and people know better, but this is what I know as well. I want to block some of the heat from the actual motor and the wires. So this way I can slide it as far forward as possible. Now you can see I do have the little heat thing there where I've tested it before, so that gets hot, and it does, because that's a safety feature. You know, when it's on the stove and it gets hot, it actually tilts it up, so the heat is not going to be transferring to the base plate. It'll be just on the corner, right, that corner. So therefore, you're not going to overheat and ruin the fan. I used to have a thermostat for this to put on the heater to tell if it's going to get too hot. I have no idea where it is. It's gone. So in a nutshell, what's going on is you cut that slit big enough to go through the grate. From there, you just kind of slide it in and on, and it hangs out. Now, one thing we did notice is it can be kind of tippy. And that's the most scientific word I can come up with at the moment. So what I did is, for my old service days, I found an old accoutrement. It's just a little, it's not brass, it's metal. But just pretty much anything so that I can go ahead and slide it on there. And it's going to catch on the bottom side on the bar. So therefore, it's going to just hold it. It's not perfect, but I mean, just a little bit of stability in case, you know, something stands up too fast, something rocks. I don't have to worry about the whole concoction falling over. But that's what that is. So, just to give a test, we'll do a quick little run. Open this guy. Purge the line out. So, I did a test before. It was a lot warmer. It was like +5 Celsius, and it raised it about 10 degrees. So that's pretty good. So what I'm going to do, it's a little bit colder. Everything's a little bit colder. That's been sitting outside. This has been going, or this whole thing is, I do know from experience, these guys do not like to be cold. So just for everyone that's looking to heat their ice shack, especially if you're driving out or something like that and you have this with you, keep it warm. It makes everything a lot easier to start. So this is the first one, because this guy's pretty much brand new. Good old Black Friday sale. So let's see if it works. I'm going to hold that down. Now, it tells you to hold it down for like that 15, 30 seconds, whatever it is. Actually do that. If you don't, because what you want to do, you see that nice little blue flame? You can make sure that's warm, and that's actually going to be on that little heat sensor. If that flame isn't touching that, then that's a sensor, which that sensor is going to read it's not hot enough, the flame isn't big enough, and it's not going to turn on the fuel to that plate. So what I'm hoping is going to happen, I'm going to let go. Looks good. And just be smarter than the knob. Turn it to low. And hopefully she's going to light up. Looking good, looking promising. Oh yeah, buddy. So, right now looking, my handy dandy watch. It's a smart watch, so it's not very smart and cooperating. So we're going to see how many seconds it's going to take, or how many minutes, hopefully not minutes, for that fan to start spinning. So just again, as a check, so there's the temperature. We're just warming up that little bit because I'm in here at that body heat. So like I was saying, for heating one of these guys, obviously wood stove, they're great. There's just there's not much to talk about. I like the propane just because of convenience. I literally used to have the buddy heater, the little guy right here, and it'd be take a little bit of chill off the air. But I like to, be hanging out in t-shirt, shorts, that kind of thing. Now we're looking. So far, still no spinning. Now, when you are cutting that, the best tool to use would be a Dremel tool, I find. But if you're going to use a Dremel tool, you actually need something that's, you get the little wand that's like small like this, so you can actually get in there. Because there's not a lot of space between the base plate and the actual propeller. My dad, we tested it on his too. He ended up using a hacksaw to kind of cut that slit out. Now, when he did do that, or even when you're cutting it regardless, because the fans work, you're going to create heat, it's going to start to spin. So what I ended up doing is just put something in place so that the blade wasn't going to spin and get in the way as I'm trying to cut it. My Dremel tool ended up crapping out. I tried an angle grinder. The angle grinder, unless you got a long, like it just had a little 4.5 inch blade, get something bigger because you got a long way to go. One of the things that I ended up doing, because it's actually a decent amount of, a few inches. So I ended up using the cutoff saw. Be very careful when you're doing it. Have it a firm grip, something to actual vise and hold it. I ended up nicking the fans a bit. Oh, look at that. She's already spinning. Can't see how many seconds. I'll look at the YouTube the timer later. But she's already starting to go. So yeah, so when you're cutting that, when you're starting to cut that, definitely it takes a little bit, and you have to have something that can get the depth. I try to cut it as close as I can to the plate because I didn't want the fan to actually interfere with anything. Now, a few things to note, because like I said, you want to be able to slide it as forward as much as you can, so most of the heat hits the base plate. Because how these heaters go, like you'll push, the heat will normally come out to about there with these, and the rest just goes straight up. In a pop-up, you know, it's not too bad. You got a low ceiling, you'll be fine. But now with this, because like here, I got the heat up top. Normally, I do feel a little bit, the fan's still kind of spooling up. But I mean, right now, I don't feel nearly as much of the heat. Before, I'd be able to feel all this would be heating up all the way to the ceiling first, and then roof would be hot, everything else. The big issue is with these is just trying to circulate, and this little guy works great. Standing in here, I can tell you, that's right now on low. I can already feel the difference. That shows nothing. But we're going to time warp ahead to, let's say, about 5 minutes, and then we'll see how it works from there. All right, it's been about 5 minutes. The temperature gone up. It has gone up. Good couple degrees, and that's after only 5 minutes. The fan's at full spin now. So now when I hold my hand, I can barely feel any heat right above until I get close to where it's actually blowing. And it's actually circulating the air really well. I can still see my breath a little bit, but I mean, that's literally after only 5 minutes. So now I can get this guy comfortable. Remember, for whenever you are trying to heat up a shack like this, the big key thing is obviously, you know, keep out the breezes. I got some carpet I just kind of screwed into place there. I got a big chunk of plywood I put behind the old Saskatchewan champagne flag there to help stop a lot of, it's all rotting away. It is what it is. And then just right around the edge of the hole, you can't really see too much, a little bit there, just some more carpet. So, because I mean, that was the big issue. The windows, we generally keep those closed unless we want more light. We'll just fold them up. But that one we have to push close. I think it's this one over here. Can't see because it's all frosted to hell. It rained. There you go. Just some spray foam. Do a little bit better. That can get trimmed away. Sunlight turns it orange like that. But right now, it's a lot more comfortable. And again, this is on low. If I turn it up just to medium there, so now she's going to spin a lot more. And we'll see just by the end of this video here. Yeah, that's all I really got. Pretty much how things are going. Now all I need is the ice to thicken up. She's spinning real good. I'll keep you posted if there's anything. Now the one thing I do want to point out, like I said, this is not recommended or anything by Buddy. I haven't seen them say they can't, but I also haven't looked. One thing that I did notice, because all the heat is hitting that base plate, especially before the fan really starts to spin and move that air, it's going to go on, like there's your base plate, it's going to go on either side of it. So yeah, it's okay if it comes forward, but going back, if you kind of, I don't know if you can see in the video, but you see those little plastic bits? Because these guys used to come with their own fan, because this was a big issue, you need to circulate the air. That's where the air used to come out of, because this is a new one. According to the internet, it says due to tariff, whatever, they can't put the fan on anymore. But what I found is the heat is going on the back side of that, and it was catching onto, or is hitting those. And they look a little melty, especially there. You can see a bit of the difference. So that is one issue that I did notice. I'm not overly concerned. It's really cosmetic more than anything. I'll keep an eye on it, see how it is. But I've literally turned that up to medium. I can't see my breath no more. Temperature slowly rising, but I mean, that's there. Up where I am sitting right now, if you remember the beginning of the video, we were able to see my breath. Just a little bit, but that's down here. So, yeah, the heat's still gonna rise, but the thing is, it's nice at the base level. So, if you want to check it out, the original video, I'll put the link in the description for where I found it. If not, it's a cool little hack. It works really well from what I've seen so far. I'm going to give it a full season to see how it really works. I got it on the Buddy heater. And this is going to be a new thing for me. Even if I was to put in a bigger pop-up, then I could do that. Or to save fuel, because it'll move it. If I was to even use it in a little pop-up and just put that fan on top, then, you know, I can keep it on low the whole time. And if it's circulating there, it's going to get a lot hotter in there. One last thing I want to say about if you are using a buddy heater and you're going to be like me and use that propane tank, I can tell you from personal experience, when they tell you to use that filter, use that filter. It is not just a gimmick by Mr. Buddy or by Mr. Heater. It will wreck your heater. That's why the other reason why I went to that guy instead of the little one. My little one, it won't even start anymore. I've taken it apart, tried cleaning it. It's gone. I gave it to my brother. Hopefully he's gonna take it all. He's actual warranty technician for them, so he can have it and then he can do whatever he wants with it. But use that filter because it pulls the crap out of the line. When the propane goes through, it pulls like some oils, I guess, out of the lines. It gungs it up, and trust me, it does. It's not. I'm not sponsored by them, so I'm not just saying that. Spend the extra money, get that filter. Or you could go ahead and buy the Mr. Ready hoses. What I find though, and from things I've heard, is they really get brittle and cracked and they fail. I've also had one of those fail on me. That's an exciting time. Big flames go everywhere. So get a decent hose and get that filter. Otherwise, you're going to kill your buddy. Other than that, that's it for this episode of Garage Beers. I really hope that you liked this content. Give it a go. Let me know what you think. If it works for you, then great. Let me know. If it doesn't work for you, really let me know, because I'd like to find out before something bad happens. Other than that, like, comment, subscribe, all that other stuff you're supposed to do for YouTube videos, and I'm going to keep pumping out content whether you do anything like that or not. And quick, at the end, just that amount of time, we're almost at 0 degrees, and it's super comfortable in here now. Till next time.